I'm slowly coming to terms with the fact that 2019 was 7 years ago, and I've been looking into why that year still feels so recent, while some of the years in between feel like a blur. It's led to some interesting insights about how we form memories, why time can feel so different looking back, and how much our attention plays a part in all of it. "2019 was a year where loads of new things were happening in life. I travelled on my own for the first time for a couple of hiking trips, went to Switzerland with friends, and people around me were getting married and starting families. There was a general feeling of optimism that life was heading in a good direction, and this is the first obvious clue as to why those memories feel so distinct. Research shows that new and emotionally significant experiences leave a much stronger mark in memory. We pay more attention when something feels different or meaningful, which then makes those moments easier to recall later, and often in more vivid detail. That nice optimistic feeling didn't stick around for long with what happened the following year. I remember being away with friends in Yorkshire when the news first started mentioning lockdowns in China. None of us really understood the significance of it at the time, and I definitely didn't think that was our last trip together for a couple of years. When lockdowns eventually hit the UK, most people started living the same day on repeat. For me, it was working from home, way too much screen time, a daily walk, and a Zoom quiz or phone call now and again. The interesting thing is that living through that time didn't feel fast, and most days were unbearably slow. But looking back now, it's hard to separate 1 month from another, and that whole phase of life feels compressed. A study published in Nature looked at this exact effect. When we're bored or disengaged, time feels as though it drags on. But when we look back on such a period of disengagement, time appears to have passed quickly. This is all related to how our brains use changes in context to organise memories. A change in location, activity, or the people we're with helps separate one experience from another. During lockdown, repeating the same routines for months at a time, fewer of those boundaries were created, resulting in years that feel like a blur. So this begins to explain 2 of the 7 years, but what about the other 5? By 2022, it felt like everything was happening at once. All the events that had been pushed back were now taking place in the same year, and work started to feel more urgent and overwhelming. Understandably, everyone was trying to make up for lost time and start doing as much as possible. The problem is this came after months of being much more isolated and losing some of the social skills we had before. So it felt like going from one extreme to another, boredom and routine, to suddenly feeling like I was struggling to keep up. Something else that became much worse was reaching for my phone whenever I felt stressed or had spare time. There's evidence that heavy social media use affects how accurately we perceive time, which makes complete sense to me because it's so easy to start scrolling and then realise that hours have disappeared. The main thing that connects both time periods, and where I've lost a lot of time personally, is waiting for circumstances to change. During lockdown, I was waiting for it to end. Then when everything opened back up, I was waiting for life to feel normal again, which never really arrived, and I'm not sure it ever will. The lesson for me is that I need to be much more deliberate with where my time and attention are going. Part of the reason 2019 feels so vivid is that I was out of my comfort zone and properly engaged with what was happening around me. Since then, I think too much time has disappeared into easy distractions while I've been waiting for some old sense of normality to come back. Making these videos is one small way of changing that. Putting my time into something more creative, getting out and doing things, and taking a bit more control over what happens next.